Hi, I'm James Governor, co-founder of RedMonk. RedMonk is an advisory company, a research company, and we specialize in looking at developers, software developers, the decisions they make, because increasingly today, technology decisions are decisions made by developers. It used to be that stuff was top-down. When we looked at IT, it was something that happened as a facet of purchasing. Today it's really led by adoption, and that is led by open source. If we think about the foundations of this new model where engineering becomes ever more important, we take the cloud, we take open source, and we take open learning with platforms like GitHub, Stack Overflow, and so on. So it's that social architecture is so important to the new way of doing things, and that's what we try and understand. Now, open source is absolutely foundational here. RedMonk has been in and around open source for a very long time, actually 20 years now. We recently celebrated our 20th birthday, and open source has been a common thread running throughout that time. So what do I think about the status of open source today? Here we are in 2023. So open source remains absolutely foundational to pretty much every kind of technology that we find today, whether it's front end, whether it's back end, whether it's databases, AI, machine learning, and so on. Open source remains how stuff gets done. It is, in effect, the industrial model. It is the air that we breathe. It is the water that we drink. It's how we get things done. Now, that's not to say that everything is open source. Clearly, the services we use very often are, in a sense, proprietary. But even those services, and when we walk around, when we use Google, when we use any digital service, frankly, open source is what they are indeed built on. Here's the thing. Open source, theoretically, is an incredibly inclusive social and technical phenomenon, but it hasn't always turned out that way. I think what I would like to see and what I'd like to say is that open source has a responsibility to be better, to step up and to be more inclusive, to do a better job of bringing in groups that are underrepresented, because at the moment, whilst it could be tremendously accessible for everybody, we're holding ourselves back by not truly opening our arms, being welcoming. There's some things we need to do. Code of conduct is one of them. Looking around, looking at the communities and trying to make them more diverse. Active outreach and being more welcoming, because open source has very often sort of relied on this, hey, it's, read the manual, go and read the docs, rather than, oh, it's nice to meet you, you're new to the community. In order that we can, as an industry, move forward, it's really important, as I say, that open source does become more welcoming. And I think that's one of the things that I'd like to see in the industry. That's one of the things that I'm going to be pushing for, because this is going to be how we continue to build software, how we continue to build the digital services that everyone relies on. But it's time for us to step up, be more welcoming, and make sure that's for all groups, regardless of who they are. Because if open source is to be anything, it has to be accessible.